when it just makes sense. It's your red-pilled brown girl searching for the truth. It's your red-pilled brown girl when it just makes sense. It's your red-pilled brown girl getting to the truth. It's your red-pilled brown girl.
It's your red-pilled brown girl.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, it's Crystal. It's your red-pilled brown girl coming at you with another video. Let me make sure my audio is working. Everything is okay. Oh my God. You guys, happy Sunday. I love coming to talk to you guys on Sunday. Sunday is a really good day for me because I think I get to go to church in the morning. For some of you guys that don't follow me on social media, I go to church. I get my mind very clear about what I want to say, and then I'm super excited to present with you guys because, oh my God, like the meltdown has been phenomenal. I don't, you guys, okay. So I'm really trying to be understanding. Like, I don't want to be a jerk, right? You know, like nobody wants to be like, ha, you lost. I was like that on Wednesday on the 6th. Wednesday on the 6th, I was probably the biggest jerk out there. But nobody wants to be a jerk like that, like all the time. So I don't say anything. Like, unless somebody comes up to me and says something to me about the election or Donald Trump or whatever went on, I don't say anything because, y'all, okay, I can only make things worse because I'm not apologetic for voting for him. I'm a proud Trump supporter. I really kind of support pretty much everything the man says and does, except he believes in exceptions for the life of the mother and incest when it comes to abortion. I believe no abortions, no exceptions. So that's the only way where him and I disagree. But Trump's my guy. Like, that's my guy. So when people come up to me and they're not happy about the election, like, I'm not going to apologize. I'm not going to be sad. I can't really be fake. Everybody knows how big of a supporter I am. So I'd rather just say nothing. I think that's the safest bet. We go out, my husband and I, we go out to like different restaurants and stuff, and people are still really upset. Like, people are seriously like still pissed off and mad. Like, really. So I say that to say I'm trying to stay away from the pissed off and mad people, but at the same time, there's a scripture that says the word offends. Like, I'm sorry you're offended, but if you are a lover of truth and you're a person who prides yourself on liking truth, nothing I say, nothing that Donald Trump says should really offend you. I mean, like, I still hear people saying, oh, well, he said, grab him by the P word. But he didn't really say that. And so the minute that you say something like that, I know that I'm not talking to a lover of truth. So I have to govern myself accordingly. Like, so that's when you're going to get the crystal that just nods in agreement and say, I get it. I understand. Like, and I'm not going there with you. I'm really not. So if you meet me and I say, I get it, I understand, just know that it's really because I'm not going there with you. You don't like truth because he has said time and time again and has explained what he meant. A lot of people say, oh, he said that what's the other one? Good people. There's good people on both sides. Like he said that. I know that you're not a lover of truth, so I don't know how to take you. I don't know how to talk to you. I'm like, nah. You know. I understand. I get you don't like him. I like him. He won, and he's your president. I mean, like, what else, right? So, if you have been watching any kind of media or anything, I think a lot of people like drained with media, and that's okay. He won. Everybody's like, okay, fine, he won. People have moved on. People are talking about the Mike Tyson fight with the Jake Paul. Oh my God, y'all! Why would Mike Tyson do that? Like, I mean, serious. Not that I don't. I really don't have an opinion for him because I'm actually not trying to piss off Mike Tyson at all. But what I will say is why? Like, and I get it's for money, right? Okay, everybody's like, oh, he got paid $20 million, but certain stuff is just not worth it. Like, if I'm rich, like how rich is too rich, right? Or like his brain, there's got to be a better way for him to make $20 million than to get in the ring with a YouTube star that's 30 years younger than him. Probably like, okay, so I'm hearing some people say that Mike Tyson killed it. He did a good job. And then I'm hearing some people say he lost. I think it came out that he lost today. But my thing is, why would you do that? Like, why would you risk your legacy, your life, like your name, your brand to fight a YouTube like it's just it's got to be a better way. It's got to be a better way. It's got to be a better way to make $20 million. It's got to be a better way. If you are Mike Tyson, there's got to be a better way to make $20 million. Like, you seriously are fighting a YouTube star? Like, you're risking your name, your legacy, your brand. You're letting people see you vulnerably. You're letting people see you like bleeding or crying or in pain to fight a YouTube star. Dude, just start a clothing brand. Like, I don't know. Like, come on. What's some other things that he can do to make $20 million? Like, what else what can he do? Oh, he can he can run for office as a Democrat. And then just waste the money. I mean, that's what they do over on the Democratic side. But anyway, I say that to say, when I watched the fight, it just seemed really contrived. It seemed really fake. It seemed kind of like I don't know. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. It didn't seem real to me at all. It seemed like they were both holding back. It seemed like neither one of them felt like they had nothing to lose, but Mike Tyson indeed had way more to lose than Jake Paul, but whatever. Hey, they all get rich, so what? He looks good for his age, like congrats to that, right? Like body's still looking good and he could do it. But don't try to fight somebody who's like 30 years younger than you. Like, I wouldn't do it. Like what? Like why? Like why? Anywho, Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, that went on. But y'all didn't come here to hear that. Y'all came here to talk about these leftist blacks that are on the mat. Like, they're on the mat, they're losing, they're tapping out. They realize that the race baiting reign is completely over. Black people and white people love each other. They just do. Like, everybody got a white person that they just really like. I mean, whether you like know them or you see them on TV or they seem really cool. And I think that President Trump in this election. Hey, he's always been a unifier, but you guys have to remember that whatever the media tells us, we know is the exact opposite. They say he's the most divisive person. He's actually not. Like, he's totally a unifier. He's the guy that you can sit up there and talk sports with, and like you can talk business with, real estate with. You can talk McDonald's with, like President Trump. Like, he's that guy. Like, anybody who watched The Apprentice knows that even The Apprentice show was so cool. Like, some of the activities that they had them doing. Oh my god! If you haven't watched The Apprentice, you gotta go. It's. I think it was out on one of the medias, but I'm sure you can stream it. But like, one was like they had to run an ice cream shop, like, or run a hot dog stand. It was just the coolest. And whoever made the most revenue from the hot dog stand, and they had to get out there and hustle. And Donald Trump was so interested in these kinds of hustling businesses, like so he's that guy, like. And they told us that he was a fascist, but we know that that's not true. He has women. He had beautiful women working for him. He had, you remember Omarosa, who was on his first Apprentice, that betrayed him. Um, but he had her working in the office. I remember back in the day, he backed Mike Tyson, y'all. He backed Mike Tyson in a case. He literally had everything to lose. This woman had accused Mike Tyson of raping her, and Donald Trump actually defended him, like, hardcore, put up money, going out there. He backed Michael Jackson. So when Michael Jackson was being accused of, misconduct with an underage kid, Donald Trump was the only person that came out and said no. I remember comedians used to make jokes about him. Like, you remember, like, with Michael Jackson, they used to make jokes and say, "Oh, don't let your kid go over Mike, Michael Jackson's ranch." Like, they used to make all kind of fun of him, which comedians do anytime. But President Trump was the one that actually stood in the gap. He was like, no, he's not a child molester. I would know a child molester. He just loves kids. And honestly, it actually had me believing, because, like, I know Donald Trump loves his children, okay? And if he ever thought that somebody was, like, gonna hurt his children, he wouldn't have them around. So for him to speak out against that courageously when everybody else was kind of turning on him, I think that that's really cool. I like the man because he's not moved by any of these media lies. He just kept pushing forward, kept pushing forward. And that was his, like, mantra. If you ever hear him talk, is don't quit. Don't quit. And I love that he didn't quit. And look, God was able to use him. But I say that to say the left is like, they're freaking out, you guys. They are maniacs. I post something from whether you love him or hate him, you guys have got to see this clip. This is so funny. Hold on, watch him.
My black queens, it ain't that serious. You crashing out for a political party we've been voting for overwhelmingly for the past 88 years. What are we crying for, sisters? Black queens, can we please do something about this? Here we got beta males on the Democratic Party plantation. They having crying sessions. I heard Van Jones and Swollen Martin and Barack Obama, they having crying sessions for the beta males of the Democratic Party plantation. Come on, family. You weren't going to get anything from Kamala Harris. Come on. You didn't get nothing from Joe Biden. Come on. But we still walked off with 85% of the black vote, but it just wasn't enough. Hispanics went for Trump more than her. Those over 50 went for Trump more than her. Structure, they wanted to put Kamala in there, but they knew if they robbed him again, America would have went up in smoke. Y'all know that. They was going to give Kamala the Oval Office, but they said if we rob him again, we don't know what's going to happen in these streets. So the shadow government had to have a sit down.
Wow.
I'm hearing black women are crying, fainting, depression, anxiety, bipolar spells, psychotic episodes. My black queens, it ain't that serious. You crashing out for a political party we've been voting for overwhelmingly for the past 88 years. What are we crying for, sisters?
Wow.
Black queens, can we please do something about this? Here we got beta males on the Democratic Party plantation. They having crying sessions. I heard Van Jones and Swollen Martin and Barack Obama, they having crying sessions for the beta males of the Democratic Party plantation. Come on, family. You weren't going to get anything from Kamala Harris. Come on. You didn't get nothing from Joe Biden. Come on. But we still walked off with 85% of the black vote, but it just wasn't enough. Hispanics went for Trump more than her. Those over 50 went for Trump more than her. Structure, they wanted to put Kamala in there, but they knew if they robbed him again, America would have went up in smoke. Y'all know that. They was going to give Kamala the Oval Office, but they said if we rob him again, we don't know what's going to happen in these streets. So the shadow government had to have a sit down.
My God. Okay. Regardless of whether you like Dr. Umar or not, okay, I'm going to tell you right now, a broken clock is right twice a day, okay? So give Dr. Umar his flowers. Second, eat the meat, throw away the bones. Dr. Umar was spitting nothing but facts, okay? He kept calling him Swollen Martin. He said Van Jones is Swollen Martin. Oh my God. Y'all, so black women, y'all, I got to show y'all a few clips because it's actually really sad. They are having heart palpitations and they are having all kinds of like anxiety. I saw I saw a meme, you guys, where the black woman, she was like, "Oh, let me eat this food real quick before the restaurant says whites only." Like that's what she was saying. Like, and I have such a problem with this, you guys, because black people, I don't think y'all can be this weak. Like I want to give you credit. I want to give you credit that you're not this weak. That you feel that after all that you've claimed to have been through in your ancestors and all the black girl magic and the the black power movement and black people are gods and goddesses and then kings and queens, like all of that going on, you think that one single person, politician, can put you back into slavery? You can't possibly think that. You can't. Maybe you do. I don't know. But it says more about you than it does about President Trump and white people that you believe that at this juncture, you have so disassociated yourself from the Constitution and the rights that were given to you by the Almighty God, and it was enshrined in the Constitution, that you believe that because a person was elected, that goes miraculously goes away. Now, mind you, this same person was elected in 2016 and he was your president and none of that happened, and somebody was able to convince you that this person being elected was going to be the end of democracy as we know it, or the end of the republic as we know it, and you guys were going to go back into chains. First of all, can't nobody put me back in the chains. I'm sorry. Like I'm not like I'm on the give me liberty or give me death train. I don't know. I know you guys choose. But like it showed more about you rather than President Trump. And sometimes I want to give black folks the benefit of the doubt. I really do. I really do. I have black friends, some of the closest people to me identify as black. So I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. However, you guys, are you that dishonest like with yourself? Like sitting in your head, in your brain, you have convinced yourself that one man's election was going to mean your bondage and your slavery. Do you just lie to yourself like all the time? Like like I'm curious. I'm really interested to know, is that the conclusion that you have come up with yourself? And is that the conclusion that you're going to allow the mainstream media to feed you and cause you to have anxiety? That's sad. I actually feel really, really sad for you. I really do. I really feel so bad. I was watching, and I'm gonna share this with you guys because I just think it's so interesting. I was watching a podcast, and the podcast is called let me tell you the podcast, and I shout out to them, y'all. Go watch them. It's nothing but a good laugh. It's Native Land Podcast, okay? Native Land Podcast, and it has Tiffany Cook, I think that's her name. Tiffany Cook that was fired, Angela Rye, and another guy named Andrew. And they were just debating this, you guys. We have to take a look at this because I just think that this is so interesting. Um I'm not going to share the actual screen cuz I don't want to get a strike. I don't want to get a strike, you guys. But I think that this is really, really important that we listen to these people like talk. Like one of the guys said he didn't get out of bed. Like he didn't get out of bed. Like he had so much anxiety. Hold on. He said he didn't get out of bed. Like, don't y'all feel sad for this guy? For this guy, y'all don't even know him yet. Y'all, let's listen to him because I definitely think that this is so interesting. Let's listen.
Us have our own ways of getting through this. I got to tell you, it was, I'll confess, my coping was bed. I spent more days in it than I would like to admit. Mostly because I didn't want to watch anything serious. I didn't want to read anything serious. I didn't want to believe what the country again had done. And then the last few days, I kind of dived directly in trying to understand it and to be curious. I saw AOC post on that's Congresswoman Ocasio Cortez out of New York,
Hold on, let me
who
pause.
basically went to Instagram.
Let me pause this. Okay, so this man, his name is Andrew. God, what's his name? Andrew Gilliam. So Andrew Gilliam, he ran for office. Hold on. He ran for mayor of Tallahassee. Um, and he didn't win. He didn't win. Um, Probably because of this whole race hustling, you know. But he didn't win. Is sitting here wanting to run. He wants to be the leader of a city like Tallahassee, Florida, while he like basically race baits people like all day. Like they the media has not gotten in it. We are tired of it. Like we're tired of the race card. Like, and I know they are hanging on for dear life, wanting to keep this race situation alive. And it's just not working. And I think that the election showed them that it's not working. So much so that this Native Land podcast, as a matter of fact, and I'm going to show you some more stuff. They actually said, "Hey, should we even keep the podcast going?" Like nobody is listening to these people anymore. Like no one, like they said CNN went from 4.1 million people watching their election coverage in 2020 to 800,000 people watching their election coverage. No one was watching them at all. Like, and I can tell you for a fact that people were watching Steven Crowder, people were watching Charlie Kirk, people were watching all these other conservative podcasts because, I mean, you guys, it's not that we don't recognize that there's differences between, black people, white people, Asian people. So it's not like I think that I'm white or black, or white people think that they're black. Like, it's not that. But we're just tired of us focusing on our differences. We're tired of somebody trying to get the upper hand. You're more the oppressed award. Like, we're tired of that. We're all made in the image of God, and it's actually really annoying at this point. And so for like people like him, it's just like, dude, you can't be a leader if you are on a podcast, like talking down about your constituents are going to be white. Like some of them are going to be white, and you're talking bad about them. Like you're talking down, or you're on a podcast where other people are talking bad about them, and you don't care. Your constituents voted overwhelmingly for the racist, rapist, felony guy with felonies. I mean, like that's who we want. That's who we want because we know that we'll get the things that matter, and we don't choose to focus on the things that you guys are trying to pin on him. But what I did find very, very interesting, he brought up AOC, and we can talk about that. But this this girl is like, y'all
The
gotta
best way to
understand.
attract high ticket coaching clients is not to spend all your time and money on social media.
And I talked the most probably since election, and the grief is so heavy. How's your heart? But what are your thoughts also?
So a few things. One is I was hoping that we could kind of succinctly go through like the stages of grief because they have been so extreme. And I think that there are so many people at home, including just based on that question, who can relate to that. But I have vacillated. I haven't like had a clean cut to each stage. I've gone from deep sadness and depression, like Andrew mentioned. I was waking up in the middle of the night going, like, is this real? Like thinking it was like a Groundhog's Day moment. I thought this was going to play out differently because Joy and Brittany and I prayed the day before the election this time instead of me calling Joy the day after the election, like what happened. And I still ended up having to make the call, like what happened. And then I went through denial, which was like, okay, clearly this thing was stolen. Who did he steal votes from? Last time he was looking for votes. So clearly he must have found the votes. Elon could get on people's phones and text them about cotton they need to be picking. Surely he could figure out a way to be negotiating with these various
Not the election denier. Oh, she said that. She said that he stole the election. He said that he probably got some votes. I thought we weren't allowed to say that. I thought we could not be an election denier. The difference between conservatives and Democrats is nobody's calling for her to lose her job. Nobody's calling for her silence or for her channel to get taken down because she said this. Like conservatives want you to be able to say whatever it is that you want. But all of a sudden they're saying that he got votes taken or he found votes, he stole the election. The facts are when it comes to this type of stuff, like if you believe, hear me when I say this, y'all. If you believe that in the most important election that was going to define American history as we know it, that 18 million voters just decided not to vote, then I have a bridge to sell you. I don't know what else to say. I have had this conversation with a few people like recently, and they're like 18 million people just did not like either one of the choices and decided not to vote. Even though those same 18 million people didn't vote in 2016, they voted in 2020, but in 2024, which is the election that was going to define America, they decided to sit this one out. They were so passionate about Joe Biden winning the election that they were going to make it through a whole pandemic and vote for Joe Biden. I was talking to someone who I love dearly, and he said, well, Crystal, it's not that. He said in 2020, they just made it easy to vote. It was really easy. You were home, so you could just put your ballot in the mail. And what I'll say to that is, okay. Okay. I mean, like, what? Y'all, it's not even, like I said, it's just not even worth it at this point. These people are so irrational and so emotional. And just like, I'm just like, do you really believe that? Oh my God. It's like, really? Okay. So let's keep watching her and her election denying self.
Precinct officials in states to figure this out. And then I talked to campaign staff who shall remain nameless. And the rage that I feel for these staffers and the things that they've been through, the ways in which they were gaslit, the ways in which, Andrew, we saw this play out in your election, I'm angry now. And I'm sad because I will be damned if they rest this at the feet of Kamala D. Harris.
Oh,
The stuff that needs to be overturned and changed up and ended is astounding. Like my mind is frankly blown. Like the level of surprise that I keep dropping down into is just more than I can even bear and articulate. So, in short, I am still vacillating between the various stages of grief. What I'm trying to lean into is not my outward expression of frustration and rage. I'm trying to deepen into listening. There are a lot of internal conversations to be had that I'm listening to, and there are a lot of external conversations to be had that, frankly, I'm not even ready to have because of the deep betrayal I feel by this country and the deep, deep betrayal that I feel for a party that I think regularly takes us for granted as voters, takes us for granted as consultants, takes us for granted as media, takes us for granted as staffers
and candidates.
And
candidates.
Absolutely candidates. Absolutely. And that is the conversation that I want to have. It just ain't right.
Just quickly, what are the stages of grief? You said deep sadness.
like why? I guess I don't understand. Like when President Trump was not given the presidency in 2020, we were really upset. The people on January 6th, the patriots of January 6th, that I'm hoping that President Trump will pardon, they were really pissed off because they believed that the election was stolen from them. But you didn't hear this kind of loathing, like, oh my God, this country takes us for granted. Like, like black girl. And I like y'all. I I actually enjoy these women and listening to them, but it's just like, why it gotta be all of that? Like, I was watching these clips, you guys, where Joy Reid was saying black women are not doing another thing to save this country. Like, black women haven't saved this country. I'm sorry. Y'all can't even save the hood. Y'all in charge of something already to save. And y'all like like they in charge of pretty much every project, every American city, and they've lost it to the drug dealers. Like, what are y'all saving? I'm serious. I'm sorry. It's just it's theatrics. It's fake. It's phony. And I'm not saying that to like to shame black people as much as I'm just desperately looking for the truth. And this is the lies that we were told. Like, these women are having like serious anxiety attacks. They're crying. They're having like heart like palpitations, and they're looking inward thinking they were rejected because their flawed, incompetent candidate didn't win. I just like, if anything, she said, I will not dare allow you guys to rest this at the feet of Kamala D. Harris. Well, who else do we rest it at, sis? She was y'all. She was not smart. She was not smart, and she should have gotten primaried, and she should have requested to be primaried, and she should have not allowed them to anoint her as the savior of the Democrat Party. Like, she was really set up, but like I saw something, you guys, that was talking about her past. Like, her whole past has been this. Like, her whole Kamala Harris's whole entire past has been given to her. Like, even her elections in California, like, she had to sleep her way to get, like, she was not a good student, I heard. Like, she just thought that she could just mosey on after being one of the most unpopular vice presidents to the most unpopular president, that she was going to somehow just mosey into the office and she was going to buy her way. She bought endorsements from people. She raised $1 billion. Like, why would you not rest it at the feet of Kamala Harris? Like, we have to have an honest conversation. Who else is it supposed to be? Who are we blaming? And it's so sad that women are like that. Like, women will make huge mistakes and try to blame it on someone else. And black women especially. You know? Like, I saw something about women leaders, and the person was joking, but it was like, this is kind of what we are exhibiting. The person said, the meme said, women will wreck the whole world and blame it on their zodiac sign. Like, I feel like that's kind of what we're doing with Kamala Harris. Like, we can't rest it at the feet of Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was asked the same freaking question about how will you change the economy for every single interview, and she didn't figure out how to answer it up until now. Like, if she was a good student and if she was a good steward of what the position that God had given her in, she would have only messed up that question one freaking time. And then the next time she would have been on it. Clear, concise, clear, concise. She went on The View and they asked her, what would you do differently? How would you separate yourself from a Biden campaign? And she said, nothing comes to mind. And that was probably the most truest sentiment, that nothing comes to her mind. If it's not given to her, she don't know, y'all. And I'm sorry, that's just the truth, and y'all know it. Y'all know it. In your heart of hearts, when you start to really look and analyze this, there is no way that somebody who is looking and seeking, let me the big screen me, okay? There is no way that someone who is there is no way that somebody who is looking and seeking to get the Oval Office, the highest office in the entire world, the most important job, that you should ask them a question one time. And then the next time, if they fluff up that one time, the next time they should say, "Oh, I really need to have an answer to that question because they're going to ask me again." They asked her that economy question like 9 different times, probably in 9 different ways. And they were making fun of her because people started saying, "I grew up in a middle class family. I grew up in a middle." They were like joking about it. And nobody on her campaign prepped her to be ready to say it and give an account the next time. And then this black woman, Angela Ree, says, don't rest the loss at the feet of Kamala Harris. Then, sis, who do we rest it at? Who do we blame? She was the one running for president. Y'all blame Donald Trump for everything. Y'all don't blame the people around Donald Trump. Why do you do that with black people? When Kanye West was saying some really like like, you remember when Kanye West was saying some really crazy stuff? Y'all blamed the people around Kanye West. Y'all didn't blame him. When Kevin Hart was doing something, y'all were like, "Oh, Kevin's friends didn't look out for him." Like, y'all so infantile. Infantile. The facts is that Kamala Harris was not ready to become the president of the United States of America. I wouldn't hire Kamala Harris to be the president of my PTA. I wouldn't. So these people are crazy. Let's keep looking. Like, cuz this is so interesting, you guys. This is really really interesting.
Anger.
I said deep sadness.
All right. So this girl is going off, right?
I feel like I get it. We're all overwhelmed at this point, but I think it's time that we need to get together and strategize. And I'm just wondering who, especially when it comes to the black community, are our leaders that would bring us together so that we can strategize effectively, so that we are not just taking advantage of. I feel like we are too busy being reactive and not proactive. I understand when I see on social media, everybody's like, "Oh, well, we're just going to see how this play out." But I'm in fear that the play out will be worse than what anybody anticipated. So I'm just wondering, who is our leadership? How will we come together? And what is the plan? And why aren't we being effective right now? We only have so many days before the inauguration. So if there's anything that's going to be done, it needs to be done. Time is of the essence. So tell me, you guys, what you think.
Thanks to Derek.
What do you want to do? Plan and strategize what? Your candidate lost. Like, what are you planning and strategizing? You need to be planning and strategizing how you can humble yourself and approach this administration with some ideas about how you can work with them. But plan and strategize what? Your leaders have betrayed you. And that's another thing. You're mad at Donald Trump. You're mad at Donald Trump's voters. You're not mad at the people who hoodwinked you and told you that you were going back into chains if he won. Like, you're not mad at those people. Like, you're not mad at the people who said, "Oh, he can't win, or the numbers don't lie, and Kamala Harris is winning, just give me $5 more. Kamala Harris needs $10 more to defeat the big bad Trump." You're not mad at those people. You're mad at Trump people and Trump voters. Like, where they do that at? Keep going.
Eric Monroe, a brilliant hairstylist, somebody I've loved over the years having conversations with while also getting my wig done. I want to say there's so much about this. Tiff, you brought this up before the break that's not normal. And one of the frustrations that I'm hearing percolate quite a bit is if the Democratic candidate and the campaign hedged its bets on Donald Trump being a fascist, why is it that after he's won the election, he's no longer being treated as a fascist? Case in point was Joe Biden meeting with him in the Oval Office for a peaceful transition of power. Kamala Harris, in her concession speech, talked about a peaceful transition of power. But how do you have a peaceful transition with someone who actually isn't so peaceful in his remarks and some of the things that he's done in the past as president? What is this all about? So I wanted to make sure that I was factually accurate. There is some law for this. The Presidential Transition Act of 1963 ensures that there is some transitional things that happen. Most of it come from an entity called the GSA, the General Services Agency in the federal government, and actually don't have much to do with the pageantry that happens in the Oval Office. Now, they say that an incumbent president has 3 responsibilities.
Okay, you guys, it was getting a little boring. But what I will say is she said, why are they not treating him like a fascist? Angela, baby, they're not treating him like a fascist because he's not one. We just needed to tell y'all that so we can win the election. Like, are they going to say that? Are they going to say that? Like, I'm spitting on my. Like, are they going to say that? They not treating him like a fascist because they know that he's not. Gotcha. They just needed to tell you that so they can win. So now that they lost, sorry. Like, here's what I will say to women like her. I was there. I was there in 2016 when Donald J. Trump was elected. And I remember that the media told me there is no way he can win. They told Hillary there is no way that he can win. Hillary Clinton had boats lined up across on New York City's like um waters because she was going to be the first female president, and they were going to do fireworks, and it was just going to be this whole huge thing. And it didn't happen. And I woke up the next morning and Donald Trump had won. And they had told me that there was no way that he could win. I felt so bad. I had told my kids that, oh my God, that he is the worst person in the world, that we are all going to die, that he doesn't care about people. I had scared my children into like anxiety. Like my kids were really bothered by it. And so the next day when he won, my kids was like, "Oh my God, Mom, Donald Trump won, and what are we gonna do?" And I was like, I felt so stupid. So I know where she's at, but I think I feel bad because fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Like, it's shame on you, sis. They did this exact same thing in 2016, where they had us saying that we were going to go into slavery and Donald Trump was the worst person in the world. He was going to be like Hitler and he was going to be a dictator. They played y'all the same way. And I think that it's a great deal of ignorance for black people to allow these people to get away with it, and you're mad at white people. You should be mad at your government. You should be mad at Donald Trump. You shouldn't be mad at Donald Trump. You should be mad at Kamala Harris for quoting these things. Like she's saying, like it was Oprah saying, we're not going to have another election. Oprah said that, y'all. Like Oprah said, if this man wins, we're not going to have another election. Mind you, when he won, nobody came out and said anything. No one said, "Hey, we're mass we are going to start organizing now because we have to go get out of this country because I don't want to be deported." Or we have to get out of this country because I don't want to be a slave. Or I don't want to live with a fascist. Oprah didn't pack up her jet for none of y'all. Like, you would think. Hold on. You would think that if she really believed that she would have like be making trips back and forth. She got the hookup in Africa. Remember, she got a school there. She ain't built no school in the hood, but she built one in Africa. Oops. But there should be all the blacks should be organizing right now and saying, okay, we got to get out of this country. We don't want to go back into slavery. Or, hey, make sure you get your weapons, blah, 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 because we don't want, like, none of them are doing that because they know it's not true. It's like, gotcha. Oops, sorry. And y'all mad at white people. Y'all mad at Trump supporters. Like, no, we never told you that Joe Biden or Kamala Harris winning that we were going to be enslaved. Nobody said that. No one said, oh, if Kamala Harris wins, you're going to have to find another country to go to. No, we just said that we're going to be in a lot of trouble economically because we believe that she's an idiot. If y'all had said, we believe that Donald Trump, if he wins, we're going to be in trouble economically, or we believe that he's not going to be good with international relations. If y'all had stopped there, it would have been fair game. But no, y'all went on the desperation train and started making up stuff out of thin air. Like you started just saying, "Oh, we're gonna all die, or we're gonna go back into chains. He's a fascist. Women are gonna lose their rights. It's gonna be Handmaid's Tale." Like y'all just did too much, and now you have to eat crow. Now you have to eat crow. You have to save face. You're embarrassed, and you want to be mad that Joe Biden welcomed him, the fascist, to the Oval Office. Watch this girl as she goes off. Watch her. Because Donald Trump went to...
One is the law, two is precedent, and three is goodwill. But I want to know how far goodwill should go. Should he be meeting with Donald Trump in the Oval Office for a peaceful transition of power? Is that a way to neutralize some of what is to come? I actually don't like it, y'all. Maybe I'm just out here. Maybe I'm Andrew. I know you're the resident diplomat among us and you may see it differently, but it actually really grinds my gears that this is something that we doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on. I really believe this man is a fascist and a racist and a bigot and he's a xenophobic person and he, all of those things. And not to just label him, but these are the things that we say based on the words that have come out of his mouth. So why is there the pageantry in the Oval?
Hey, Queen. Instead of focusing on small clients or serving individual consumers.
Two quick things. One, I think Joe Biden, having wrested so much of his rebirth in his run for presidency, and even Kamala through the prosecuting of the case around why Donald Trump is unfit to serve in the office again, they were rightly trying to ring the alarm, sound the alarm, treat him as not normal, as a pariah in many ways. But once the people have spoken, once voters have decided, and in this way, in a relatively convincing way in modern politics, given the spread, it is incumbent upon the existing leadership to, in my opinion, hold with its traditions and its norms, And quite frankly, it's been done. Hillary Clinton sat there as the opponent of Donald Trump, but as a former first lady and wife to President Bill Clinton, in hair distance to Donald Trump as he took the oath of office. I can't imagine what this woman wanted to do, snatch his hair, hers, and everybody else's. But that's not what we do in democratic societies. And as frustrating as it is, it will frustrate me to have to see Michelle and Barack Obama and Bill and Hillary Clinton and even the Bushes, even though George Bush stayed silent in this cycle. But they will sit on that platform and that podium, and they will demonstrate not only to Americans, but to the rest of the world that what mature, sophisticated, democratic societies do is they have peaceful transfers of power, the passing of leadership from one party to the other. And I know I'm a traditionalist in this way, but I do believe the optics are important to communicate. It was fine to treat him as a pariah and call him every name under the child of God, up until the point that voters decided that they wanted him to be their president again. And at that point, he is entitled to the rights, privileges, customs, and obviously the legal justifications for his acts as president. Now, by the way, that doesn't stop us from protesting. That doesn't stop us from disagreeing vehemently with those things that he does that we disagree with. But as it relates to, I think, the traditions of the office and the passing of leadership from one administration, one party to another, it is important to keep those traditions, if not just for ourselves, certainly as an example to the rest of the world that this is what democracies do. You don't hold power just because you want to keep it. You don't get to stay.
Over $3 billion in contracts across 17 government agencies. Mm-hmm. This man was running essentially a puppet regime for voters, media, and the candidate himself. He will essentially be tapped to oversee people who would be regulating him. I don't think the country, and perhaps not everybody even on this podcast, has wrapped our arms around what it means to completely undo democratic norms and principles in this country. I don't think that we have considered the domestic policy that will completely upend what our social norms and mores, our political norms and mores.
These people are so out of touch. We don't want it, Tiffany. I'm sorry. It has not worked for the average American person. If Americans were wealthy, could buy a house, if Americans were healthy, we didn't have to worry about being sick and overweight and our food being poisonous, if we didn't have to worry about our marriages being broken apart by pornography and drug use, if we didn't have to worry about our kids being indoctrinated in schools, then yes, let's just do the norms. Normal sucks now. Normal has become $1,800 for a 2-bedroom apartment. These women, this man is talking about upending the government and how President Trump is not going with the norms. He's going with Elon Musk and he's doing this and he's doing, because the people have spoken. We have voted Donald J. Trump as our president. Whoever he hires is good for us. And whoever he wants to do the job is good for us. He knows them, we don't. That's what happens when you have a leader that you can lean on and can trust. We recognize that they don't like Donald Trump. We recognize that you don't trust him and you didn't have to vote for him. You have two options, Miss Cross. You can sit back and you can relax, be mad, keep your podcast, and keep saying that the election was stolen. Or you can leave as an American citizen. You can go somewhere else that you think is better. But other than that, he won the popular vote. He won the delegates that he needed. He's our president, and he's going to make life better for us. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't excite you because life is probably just fine, Miss X MSNBC host. But most of Americans are struggling. So we're not interested in what you have to say about Donald Trump. I'm sorry that they're upset. I really am. I'm sorry that the blacks are just falling apart. Roland Martin, oh my God. Roland Martin is having a hard time. I believe that people are going to stop listening to him very soon and very soon, like the old hymn says. Soon and very soon, he's going to be out of business because people, you can't hustle race but for so long. And all he keeps talking about is they didn't hire him. They didn't hire him and his team. Kamala Harris's team didn't hire. Like, why are you saying that now, bro? You caped up for the Democrat Party, and now you want to talk about the fact that black media didn't want to hire you, that her media didn't want to hire black media. That's your problem. That's what you want black people to continue to do, to continue to cape up for the Democrat Party and get nothing. That's what you want black people to continue to do. But there was at least 12% of us, 7% of women that said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Like Roland Martin is saying, this clip is so important, you guys. He's sitting there talking about, they didn't listen to me. I told them to be on the ground. He's like, why are you campaigning in Houston? Why are you campaigning in Houston? Texas is not going to go blue. He's like, but they didn't listen to me. They spent all this money, and they could have given me the money, and I would have did the groundwork. Let me see if I can find it.
Every day, there are millions of people looking to donate their unwanted items to charity. Unfortunately,
that woman, Jen O'Malley Dillon, with no cultural competency, right, who was sitting there, who did not understand what was happening out here when people like me were literally saying it every single day. It was there in the data. It's in the conversations. So you had black folks who were sitting here like, all right, I might choose the couch. The couch was real.
No, it ain't.
When did we start saying the couch was real? In 2023.
Right.
So, but when you run this campaign of, oh yeah, well, we only gonna do, all right, we're gonna throw it a little bit over here. No. And then what did I also kept saying? I kept saying on the show, your runway is getting shorter. It's getting shorter. If you fly in a plane and you like, shit, come on, pull up, get the maximum energy, pull up, because I gotta clear the trees. Runway was getting shorter. And so as they kept BSing along, guess what? Runway getting shorter. So now you were losing your informative education and enlightenment stage. You already now into registration voting stage. So now you're trying to play catch up and, oh, damn, how do I now communicate with folks? And the thing here, Reese, and I got no problem saying it, they weren't listening to black people. Black people were telling them, if I'm on a campaign and I'm looking, this is real basic. If I'm looking at a campaign and I gotta win Wisconsin, I gotta have 70% black turnout in Milwaukee. Right. And I've got to, and I know I gotta do elsewhere. Here's what they miss, Reese. They miss that white people increased their turnout. That's what they miss. Trump did better in Milwaukee this time than 20. He did better in Detroit, 13,000 votes in Detroit compared to 2020, but that's still an increase. You have to offset that somewhere.
So here's what I will agree with him is that they were not listening to black people, but not in the way that Roland Martin is saying. Roland Martin is saying they're not listening to black people, meaning they're not listening to him because, he knows everything. He's the speaks for all the black people. Black people overwhelmingly are not with the transgender gay stuff. I know a lot of gay blacks and they ain't even with it. It was too much. And Kamala Harris kept pushing the gay stuff. Kamala Harris kept pushing the immigrant stuff. Even black people who didn't know how to feel about immigration just kind of knew innately that it's not right that that the immigrants should be getting the benefits that Americans pay for. They're just not with it. And so Roland Martin is kind of, he's so self-centered. He's like, "Oh, they didn't listen to me." No, no, no. It wasn't that they didn't they weren't listening to black people, period. Like they never have to. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black, is what black people get from the Democrats, okay? Just vote for me because the Republicans are racist. Vote for me because the Republicans don't like you. Vote for me. I know you've been voting for me for the past 70, 80, 90 years, but this time it's going to be different. I promise you, this time. I mean, that's essentially what the Democrat Party says to black people. I know you've been voting for us for the last 70, 80 years. But this time, this one, we gonna fix one of them schools in your neighborhoods. One of them. One of those schools are gonna get fixed. One of them potholes. I'm telling you. One of them potholes, a street is gonna get fixed. Something's gonna happen in your neighborhood this time. Like, black people have been getting this from the Democrat Party for forever. And the Roland Martins keep peddling it. And instead of him saying, "Hey, we have to do something different and go talk to the people that we hate, or go talk to the people we think hate us," which are the Republicans, I don't care if y'all call me a name. That would actually be interesting. I'd actually want to see these black people come to some reflection, like the Sunny Hostins. I would actually want to see her say something doesn't feel and smell right anymore. I need to take a step back because I have to have some perspective on this. But these people are not courageous. These people are bought and paid for. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It really is disgusting. The meltdown is for real, y'all. I mean, like, people are going off. When honestly, all Democrats, I mean, the only person that they have to blame is themselves. So, anywho, you guys, it is late, and man, I am getting so sleepy and so sad. Anywho, I'm so grateful that you watch me. I'm so grateful. Um, so grateful that you watch. So grateful that you tune in. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Go follow me on all my social media. Go follow me um on TikTok. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on what? It's not Twitter anymore. It's X. Follow me on Instagram, you guys. I would love to chat with you. Send me a message. Send me a DM. Um, I'm so glad that we are not being emotional about this. Like, this is not emotional, you guys. And if it was emotional in 2016, you need to grow up. You need to grow up. President Trump is just going to be just fine, okay? Y'all seen him walk in with his squad at the fight. Trump is a beast, y'all. He is a beast. I love that man. Anywho, you guys, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, peace.